Hello everyone and welcome to week 4. This week we're going to actively read two articles. An article by Peggy Orenstein called What's Wrong with Cinderella, and another article by Margaret Atwood called Pornography. So I'd like you to actively read both of those articles. That means asking questions and having a conversation with the author as you read. I'd also like you to think about whether you agree or disagree with those articles while you're reading them. I'd also like you to review this slide deck. It's not going to be a video, it's going to be an audio file. We're going to start talking about the writing process. This week we're going to focus on pre-writing, so what to think about before you even begin writing. And finally, I'd like you to take a pre-test for your comp class and make sure that you are able to access your comp class by the end of this week. I'll be contacting you if I don't see you inside the class this week. Inside of your comp class. I can see if you've logged in, so I'll check to see if you're having any issues or problems. So let's start talking about the writing process. There's 3 main steps to the writing process. First, you start by generating ideas. You're given an assignment and you got to figure out what you're going to write about. Then, the next stage is to plan, to draft, and to develop your paper. So that's when you do the hard work of actually thinking through how you're going to write your paper, writing it, and adding in evidence to support what you're saying. Finally, the last step, which you repeat many times in the writing process, is to revise and edit to make the paper the best paper that it can possibly be. So the writing process begins with pre-writing, and you use pre-writing to generate new ideas. The first step is to review the assignment and to understand what you need to accomplish with your writing. It's always important to really review the assignment sheet. Whatever I give you that says what I'd like you to write about is really important to review. The second step is to choose your pre-writing technique, and oftentimes, guys, you're gonna want to use more than one type of pre-writing to generate ideas. And I'm going to go through a couple of these that you can try out. The first one I want to talk about is called brainstorming. Many of you guys have heard this before. It's just the idea of taking you use free associations to stimulate a chain of ideas, to personalize a topic or to break it down or to take it or to associate other things with that topic. You can do this alone by yourself, or you can do it in a group. Sometimes it helps to be in a group and try to brainstorm. So you just start with a single word and write it down, and then think of the first word that comes to your mind. You know, if I think of apple, I think of tree. If I think of tree, I might think of Christmas, or I might think of, just let yourself keep on expanding out. You want to start with a concept or word a little bit more complex than apple, right? You want to use something that you can use as a possible topic. So you want to start with that at least. Another idea is free writing. Free writing is something that hopefully you're already doing some in your journal. You use it to tap into your unconscious by writing continuously. That means without lifting your pen or pencil from the page for a specific amount of time. So how do you do it? You start off by either with an open Word document or a blank piece of paper, and you write a sentence at the top of the page. Then, without stopping, and it's a good idea to set a timer, write for at least 10 minutes. Don't take your pencil off the page that whole time. And don't censor yourself. Don't say, oh, what are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to not make sense when you're free writing. You want to free yourself to let your mind wander. It's also all right to not stay on topic. You can wander over here, over there. Maybe you're talking about apples, and then you're talking about pears, and then you're talking about something entirely different. It's completely okay. If you get stuck while you're doing it, have these questions available to you so you can go back to them. What interests you about this topic? What do you care most about? What do you know about it that the next person doesn't know? What have you read about this topic, or observed about this topic, or heard about this topic? How might you feel about this topic if you were someone else? And you want to repeat this process. After the 10 minutes are up, review what you wrote. If you haven't gotten a great nugget of information, Try it again. Try it with the same sentence or try a different one. Maybe you found a new sentence you want to work from. Another way, if you're a real visual learner, if you really like to draw things out, a good way to start is to doodle or sketch. Just write, you take a blank piece of paper for this and try doodling or sketching your way to a paper topic. So you just want to put a key visual at the center of the page, whatever your idea of a topic is. Create a visual for it or write it in big letters. And then you want to add sketches or doodles as they occur to you in order to embellish, expand, define, or redirect your topic. Another visual way to think through a topic is called mapping. If you like post-it notes or if you like cloud software, mind mapping, then mapping is a really good choice for you to try. So you just start with a topic or idea at the center of the page, and you can either use sticky notes, or if you're in a mind mapping program, you can just open new bubbles that map out to this, and just start writing down ideas and using arrows to connect those ideas across the page. Another way to pre-write is through asking reporters questions. If you really like to ask questions to find out the answers of something, this is a really good technique to try. You define your topic by asking these questions of it: who, what, where, when, why, and how. And I have an example here of how to go through asking these types of questions based on if the topic were the John F. Kennedy's assassination. So if you want to review that, it's a good example. So once you've generated your ideas, though, what do you do next? So once you have an idea, so all of this hard work of pre-writing, what you need to do next is you need to discover material. That means you need to find evidence and ideas to support what you're saying. These are facts or figures, reports, opinions, or examples, and a lot of times in this class it's going to be things you find by doing research. So you're going to find evidence on your through your own experience, through your knowledge, or things that you know about, right? But mainly you're going to find your evidence through research. And don't worry, that's exactly what we're going to be doing this entire semester. When you do your research, you want to find materials that draw you to new approaches and to think critically about all of these sources. Just the way that you're actively engaging with the essays that we're reading for this class, I want you to actively engage with all of the articles that you're trying to analyze to see if they're good to support what you're saying in your for your topic, for your essay. The next stage, once you've generated ideas and you've gathered evidence and to support what you're saying, this is when you start the next stage of writing, and that's planning, drafting, and developing. When you plan, you're going to identify your purpose and audience. You're going to decide on one main point. You're going to state a thesis about that main point, and you're going to organize ideas by grouping or outlining. For drafting, you're going to start and restart. You're going to start writing and then you're going to restart writing. You're going to build paragraphs. You're going to open and conclude, and then you're going to create coherence throughout the entire essay. And finally, when you develop, you're going to explain and support what you're saying. You're going to add definitions, examples, and details, and you're going to supply evidence such as facts, statistics, expert testimony, and observations to support what you're saying. So this is what we're going to be talking about next week. Stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing your discussions in this week's discussion forums.